Hey everyone, Mr. Armitage here, and we are in a new school year now, 2021 to 2022. And so, with the new school year comes new assignments, new projects, and everything else along with that. And so, let's go ahead and get started with our first one, our first practice in Excel. Okay. So as you can see here, I have our sample data spreadsheet open. I am using it in Teams, Excel in Teams. I am not using it online, well, the Excel online, and I'm not using the desktop app. Excel online is very similar to Excel in Teams, so you'll be able to follow along closely. However, Excel on the desktop app is a little different. Not for this first video, first part of 2 in dealing with sample data here, categorical data, but in the next video it will be. All right, so let's get started. Here we have 3 categorical variables. Okay, we have region. There we go. And you will see why I am spacing them apart like this. We have rep, and we have items. Okay, go ahead and bold these as well. Now, what we need is to create a frequency table for all of these. So here's frequency there, and frequency there. Okay. So we are creating a frequency table for all 3 of our categorical variables. Now let's start with the region, and that's the only one I'm going to do for this. So for the region, okay, we can see here that all of our values here are pretty simple. Okay, there's only 3 of them, just kind of scanning through, east, central, and west. Okay, but just typing in east, central, and west like this, that's bad. Okay, maybe there's something we missed. Maybe the spreadsheet is actually 1,000 rows long, and we don't have time to scroll through that and try to figure out each one. So just typing in the values, like looking at it and typing it in, bad. We do not want to do that because the computer can do it for us. These are the baby steps before we do it in larger projects where there are thousands and thousands of rows. So to get each category for this variable, want to type equals, and there is a function called unique. Okay, we can see that right there. Equals unique. Okay, and oops. Here we go. So we got that. And we see here it says array for the first one. So array is just our set of data that we wanted to look at, which in this case is all of these. So I just clicked and dragged down until I have all of them selected. Okay, and we ended at 44. Cool. And that's all that one takes. So close parentheses, enter. Look, east, central, and west. How convenient. Which is good, okay? Our intuition was correct. And that's why these data are so small, so that we can actually see, okay, yeah, what I thought would happen did happen and not something else. Now you can see here, okay, so I just double clicked on it to open it again. It says okay, B2 colon B44. And what that is saying start at B2 and go all the way to B44. So in the future, we can type this in instead of having to select everything. Once we know what the range of cells are, we can simply type it in instead and save ourselves a whole lot of time of trying to scroll through. Okay. Now we need the frequency. Okay. How often does each value actually occur? So how often does east occur? How often does central happen? How often does west happen? And for that, there's another function, count if. Okay. You can see the hint here, counts the number of cells within a range that meet the given condition. So that is going to count how many cells meet whatever condition we give it. So how many cells contain the word east in this case? How many cells contain the word central? How many contain the word west? So that's the one we want. And now we can simply, whoops, there we go. Well, we can type in B2 to B44, like B2 colon B44. Okay, and as you can see on the left, okay, that is now all selected. But that's not all. We need to tell it what we want it to count, because otherwise it's going to give us 0. Okay, as far as Excel is concerned, there's nothing there for now. So the second thing we need to give it after we type in the comma, you can see right there, okay, and it's now saying we are going to enter the criteria. Okay. Now in our case, our criteria is simply this east here, but we don't type east. If we just did that, okay, I typed the word east because that's what I wanted to match, close parentheses, hit enter, 0. Because east, like this, is not something that Excel recognizes. Okay. If you've done any programming before, you should know that it would try to match a string, okay? East would need to be in quotes, like this right here. If we did that, okay, we got 13. But that's not a good thing. Okay, what if, okay, this changed the top one here. Someone went back and found out it was actually the central location. Okay, well, now the first one is central here. Okay, the first label is central, but our counting function here is still counting east. And that's bad. That's not what we want, okay? We want to do something as little as possible called hard coding. We don't want to put things in there that can't change easily or that we would have to change. We want to do that as little as possible. So what we do is instead of typing east, we simply select the cell that we want it to match against. So in this case, it's G2. We could have just typed in G2 if we wanted instead, and that would have saved a second or so. So now when we hit enter, okay, it tells us 13. Awesome. Now we could type that in again here, but, and then again here, which would be good. It would work, but don't make more work for yourself. We can move our mouse down to this bottom right corner here. You see that little green square? Okay, notice how my mouse changes. Okay, it looks like this right now, and it changes to look like that. If we click, hold, and drag down, we see it looks like this. And then when we release, It's filled in the formula for us. Okay? But there's a problem. And if you know Excel, you know this problem. Okay? There's an issue here. We have B3 to B45. We're missing that top one. Okay? Now, fortunately, it works out okay because we got lucky. You can see here, okay, G4, that's good. That's what we wanted. But now we're missing these top two. Okay, it's moving everything down, and that's not what we want. We want it to stay at B2 through B44. So that's what we need to tell Excel that we want. So let's go back up to this first one. Okay? To tell Excel that we do not want it to change, we need to put a $sign before what we want to not change. So in this case, I'm putting a $sign between the B and the 2 and the B and the 44. Okay? So now when I autofill, okay, so I hit enter, I go to here, drag down, okay, nothing changed visibly, but when we look at the formula, okay, it's referring to G3 here, but now it's stayed B2 to B44. And that's all we needed to do. Now we have our frequency table here. Your assignment was to do the same for rep and the same for the items. Rep is in column C, items are in column D. So best of luck. Part 2, we'll be making the graphs for this.